Alright, hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel once again, and welcome back to the Labyrinth. Before we get into what we get into, to quote Britney Spears, oops, I did it again. It is very, very late at night as I'm recording this, so unfortunately this won't be up in time for Thursday. So tomorrow is going to be another double upload, and tomorrow, especially because as tomorrow I am going to SmackDown in Buffalo. Also, if you're there, if you happen to be there, or if you're gonna be in the Buffalo area and you're going to SmackDown, and you happen to see me, run into me, hey, please stop by and say what's up. I'd love to chat with you. But in the meantime, we are starting off with a new story here on Nigel Dixie's Tales from Labyrinth. If you are new to Nigel Dixie's Tales from Labyrinth, welcome. If not, welcome back. But if you are indeed new here, what we do for the most part is we read poetry, but sometimes we do some other readings as well. We read other works of literature, and this time, and we're continuing with Shakespeare, going through Shakespeare's library, and thus going through my old high school reading here with Julius Caesar. Hail Caesar! So, of course, we have the entire Julius Caesar play, and of course, this is courtesy of the Folger Shakespeare Library. They will be linked in the description below. It's time to read Julius Caesar. Like the other Shakespearean works, I haven't read this since high school. How will it hold up? We will find out. But how this is gonna work is if you've seen these readings of mine before, you kind of know what to expect. But if you haven't, I'm gonna be going act by act. So we're starting off obviously with Act 1 here, so we have Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4, and Act 5, and we're going to be reading the text itself, and I have it here on the screen, so you guys can follow along, but because it'll be linked in the description in the entire Julius Caesar play, hey, feel free to click the link, open it up, read along with me. You can read along with me on the screen, although I'm probably going to scroll and read. I feel like I kind of do read a little bit fast, and I always have, even when I was younger. But if I'm going too fast, feel free to follow along at your own pace. You can read it on your own time. You can read it along with me, or you can do neither. That is totally fine. It's totally up to you. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So text first, then read the synopsis here of what we read, kind of pretty much a summary of what we read, and then we're going to expand upon it. So, now, without further ado, let's get right into it. Enter Flavius, Marulus, and certain commoners, including a carpenter and a cobbler, over the stage. Hence, home, you idle creatures, get you home. Is this a holiday? What, know you not? Being mechanical, you ought not walk upon a laboring day without the sign of your profession. Speak, what trade art thou? Why, sir, a carpenter. What ere is thy leather apron in thy rule? What dost thou with thy best apparel on? You, sir, what trade are you? Truly, sir, in respect of a fine workman, I am but, as you say, a cobbler. But what trade art thou? Answer me directly. A trade, sir, that I hope I may use with a safe conscience, which is indeed, sir, a mender of bad souls. What trade, thou knave, thou naughty knave, what trade? Nay, I beseech you, sir, be not out with me. Yet if you be out, sir, I can mend you. What meanest thou by that? Mend me, thou saucy fellow. Why, sir, cobble you. Thou art a cobbler, art thou? Truly, sir, all that I live by is with the awl. I meddle with no tradesmen's matters, nor women's matters. But withal I am indeed, sir, a surgeon to old shoes. Which, when they are in great danger, I recover them, as proper men as ever trod upon neat's leather have gone up upon my handiwork. But wherefore art not in thy shop today? Why dost thou lead these men about the streets? Truly, sir, to wear out their shoes, to get myself into more work. But indeed, sir, We make holiday, to see Caesar and to rejoice in his triumph. Wherefore rejoice? What conquests bring he home? What tributaries follow him to Rome? To grace and captive bonds his chariot wheels. You blocks, you stones, you worse than senseless things. Oh, you hard hearts, you cruel men of Rome, knew you not Pompey? Or knew you not Pompey? Not Pompey. Hey, Pompey is something totally different, but knew you not Pompey? Many a time and oft have you climbed up to walls and battlements, to towers and windows, yea, to chimney tops. Your infants in your arms, and there have sat the livelong day, with patient expectation, to see great Pompey pass the streets of Rome. And when you saw his chariot but appear, have you not made an universal shout, that Tiber trembled underneath her blanks, to hear the replication of your sounds made in her concave shores? And do you now put on your best attire? And do you now cull out a holiday? And do you now strew flowers in his way, that comes in triumph over Pompey's blood? Begone, run to your houses, fall upon your knees, pray to the gods to intermit the plague, that needs must light on this ingratitude. Go, go, good countrymen, and for this fault, assemble all the poor men of your sort, draw them to Tiber banks, and weep your tears. Into the channel, till the lowest stream, do kiss the most exalted shores of all, and all the commoners exit. See where their basest metal be not moved. They vanish tongue-tied in their guiltiness. Go you down that way towards the Capitol. This way will I disrobe the images, if you do find them decked with ceremonies. May we do so? You know it is the feast of Lupercal. It is no matter. Let no images be hung with Caesar's trophies all about, and drive away the vulgar from the streets. So do you too, where you perceive them thick. These growing feathers plucked from Caesar's wing will make him fly an ordinary pitch. Who else would soar above the view of men, and keep us all in servile fearfulness? Servile fearfulness. There we go. And they exit in different directions. So the synopsis here is that in Rome, the people are taking a holiday to celebrate the triumphant return of Julius Caesar. The tribunes Marulus and Flavius try to shame the people into returning to their places of work by reminding them how much they love Caesar's rival Pompey, whom Caesar has destroyed and whose sons he has just defeated. So pretty much getting on them, be like, hey, you were supporting Pompey, now you're supporting Caesar for overthrowing it, and kind of alluding to something that we'll definitely come back to later on the play, that is that the Roman people are kind of sheep. And I don't mean that as a generalization. That's literally how they're depicted for the most part, or as essentially sheep. They'll follow just about anyone, and because Caesar's on top, they'll essentially follow him. Similar to like the Minions from the Minions Despicable Me movies and stuff like that. How they kind of followed when they got a new leader. They kind of followed them around and everything. And so now they were fans of Pompey. They were like, yay, Pompey's the best, Pompey #1. But now that Caesar's taken over, now it's all celebrations and stuff out for Caesar. Excuse me. So, now how will Caesar react and everything? And also, it's funny how Marcellus is, I believe, or maybe Flavius, or Marulus and Flavius, but it's both of them. I think actually they call him Marcellus, but how Marulus and Flavius pretty much asked him multiple times, "Hey, what's your trade? What's your job?" And he kept saying, "Dude, I'm a cobbler," and to say like you don't look like a cobbler, you don't carry your tools around with them. Yeah, cobblers usually don't. The tools are back in the shop. But nevertheless, as we move into scene 2 here of Act 1, on how will things continue, and how will the celebrations go for dear Caesar? Let's find out. So enter Caesar, Antony for the course, Calpurnia, Portia, Decius, Cicero, Brutus, Cassius, Casca, a soothsayer, after them Marulus and Flavius, and commoners, and a partridge in a pear tree. My word, that's a lot of people, but nevertheless, let's get into it. Calpurnia, peace, ho! Caesar speaks. Calpurnia, hear, my lord. Stand you directly in Antonius's way, when he doth run his course. Antonius, Caesar, my lord, forget not in your speed, Antonius, to touch Calpurnia, for our elders say, the baron, touched in this holy chase, shake off their sterile curse. I shall remember, when Caesar says, do this, is performed. Sit on and leave no ceremony out. And it says Senate. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I guess we're going to find out in just a moment. But Caesar, ha, who calls? Bid every noise be still. Peace, yet again. Who is it in the press that calls on me? I hear a tongue shriller than all the music. Cry, Caesar, speak. Caesar is his turn to hear. Beware the Ides of March. What man is that? A soothsayer bids you beware the Ides of March. Set him before me, let me see his face. Fellow, come from the throng, and the soothsayer comes forward. Look upon Caesar. What sayest thou to me now? Speak once again. Beware the Ides of March. He is a dreamer. Let us leave him. Pass. As in Senate, and then all but Brutus and Cassius exit. I'm guessing this Senate here is some kind of song or something that they're doing on stage. You gotta keep in mind these are all stage directions because this is originally a stage play. It's just obviously put in form like this to be read and everything. So I'm guessing it's some kind of song or music like they have like in the other stories we've read so far. They had like the fanfare and everything. But anyway, continuing on. Will you go see the order of the course? Not I. I pray you, do. I am not gamesome. I do lack some part of that quick spirit that is in Antony. Let me not hinder, Cassius, your desires. I'll leave you. Brutus, I do observe you now of late. I have not from your eyes that gentleness and show of love as I was wont to have. You bear too stubborn and too strange a hand over your friend that loves you. Cassius, be not deceived. If I have veiled my look, I turn the trouble of my countenance merely upon myself. Vexed I am, of late with passions of some difference, conceptions only proper to myself, which gives some soil, perhaps, to my behaviors. But let not, therefore, my good friends be grieved, among which number, Cassius, be you one, nor construe any further my neglect, than that poor Brutus, with himself at war, forgets the shows of love to other men. Then, Brutus, I have much mistook your passion, by means whereof this breast of mine hath buried thoughts of great value, worthy cogitations. I believe that's how it's pronounced. There are quite a few words that are going to be kind of tricky to pronounce, but we're gonna try our best to make through. Worthy cogitations. Tell me, good Brutus, can you see your face? No, Cassius, for the eye sees not itself, but by reflection, by some other things. 'Tis just, and it is very much lamented, Bruce, that you have not such mirrors as will turn your hidden worthiness into your eye, that you might see your shadow. I have heard where many of the best respect in Rome, except immortal Caesar, speaking of Brutus, and groaning underneath his age's yoke, have wished that noble Brutus had his eyes. Into what dangers would you lead me, Cassius, that you would have me seek into myself for that which is not in me? Therefore, good Brutus, be prepared to hear, and since you know you cannot see yourself so well as by reflection, I, your glass, will modestly discover to yourself that of yourself which you yet know not of, and be not jealous on me, gentle Brutus, were I common laughter, or did use to stale with ordinary oaths my love to every new protester. If you know that I do fawn on men and hug them hard, and after scandal them, or if you know that I profess myself banqueting to all the rout, then hold me dangerous, and flourish and shout. And that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier, or the Senate, or maybe the Senate, this part right here, or it looks like it's supposed to be pronounced Senate, so I think that's supposed to be similar to the flourish and shout, where where they're making a bunch of cheering and making a bunch of noise and everything. But anyway, let's continue. What means this shouting? I do fear the people choose Caesar for their king. Aye, do you fear it? Then must I think you would not have it so. I would not, Cassius, yet I love him well. But wherefore do you hold me here so long? What is it that you would impart to me? If it be aught towards the general good, set honor in one eye and death in the other, and I will look on both indifferently. For let the gods so speed me as I love the name of honor more than I fear death. I know that virtue to be in you, Brutus, as well as I do know your outward favor. Well, honor is the subject of my story. I cannot tell what you and other men think of this life, but for my single self, I had as lief not be as lived to me in awe of such a thing as I myself. I was born free as Caesar, so were you. We both have fed as well, and we can both endure the winter's cold as well as he. For once, upon a raw and gusty day, the troubled Tiber chafing with her shores, Caesar said to me, Darest thou, Cassius, now leap in with me into this angry flood, and swim to yonder point? Upon the word, accoutered as I was, I believe that's how it's pronounced. That's supposed to be pronounced. Accoutered as I was, I plunged in and bade him follow. So indeed he did. The torrent roared, and we did buffet it with lusty sinews, throwing it aside and stemming it with hearts of controversy. But ere we could arrive at the point proposed, Caesar cried, Help me, Cassius, or I sink. I, as Aeneas, our great ancestor, did from the flames of Troy upon his shoulder, the old Anchises bear, or maybe Ancus's bear, or I think I'm gonna go with the first one. I think it's supposed to be Anchises bear. So from the waves of Tiber did I the tired Caesar, and this man is now become a god, and Cassius is a wretched creature and must bend his body, if Caesar carelessly but nod on him. He had a fever which when he was in Spain, and when the fit was on him, I did mark how he did shake. 'Tis true, this god did shake. His coward lips did from their color fly, and that same eye whose bend doth awe the world, did lose his luster. I did hear him groan. Aye, and that tongue of his that bade the Romans mark him and write his speeches in their books. Alas, it cried, give me some give me some drink. Oh my goodness! I think because I was reading this word a little bit ahead of time, so I accidentally combined the two. But give me some drink, Titanius. I think it's Titanius, if I'm not mistaken. As a sick girl, you gods, it doth amaze me. A man of such a feeble temper should, so get the start of their majestic world, and bear the palm alone, and more shout and flourish once again. Another general shout. I do believe that these applauses are for some new honors that are heaped on Caesar. Why, man, he doth bestride the narrow world like a colossus, and we petty men walk under his huge legs and peep about, to find ourselves dishonorable graves. Men at some time are masters of their fate. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves, that we are underlings. Brutus and Caesar, what should be in that Caesar? Why should that name be sounded more than yours? Write them together. Yours is as fair a name. Sound them. It doth become the mouth as well. Weigh them. It is as heavy. Conjure with them. Brutus. This will start a spirit as soon as Caesar. Now, in the names of all the gods at once, upon what meat doth this our Caesar feed, that he is grown so great? Age. Thou art shamed. Rome, thou hast lost the breed of noble bloods. When went there by an age, since the great flood, but it was famed with more than with one man? When could they say, till now, that talked of Rome, that her wide walks encompass but one man? Now, how is it Rome indeed, and room enough, where and there it is in it but one only man? Oh, you and I have heard our fathers say, there was a Brutus once that would have hooked the eternal devil to keep his state in Rome as easily as a king. That you do love me, I am nothing jealous. What you would work me to, I have some aim. How I have thought of this, and of these times, I shall recount hereafter. For this present, I would not, so with love I might entreat you, be any further moved. What you have said, I will consider. What you have to say, I will with patience hear, and find a time, both meet to hear and answer such high things. Till then, my noble friend, chew upon this. Brutus had rather be a villager than to repute himself a son of Rome. Under these hard conditions as this time is like to lay upon us. I am glad that my weak words have struck but thus much show of fire from Brutus. And then enter Caesar in his train. The games are done, and Caesar is returning. As they pass by, pluck Casca by the sleeve, and he will, after a sour fashion, tell you, let preceded worthy note today. I will do so, but look you, Cassius, the angry spot doth glow on Caesar's brow, and all the rest look like a chidden train. Calpurnia's cheek is pale, and Cicero looks with such ferret and such fiery eyes, as we have seen him in the Capitol, being crossed in conference by some senators. Casca will tell us what the matter is. Antonius, Caesar, let me have men about me that are fat, sleek-headed men, and such as sleep at night. Yon Cassius has a lean and hungry look. He thinks too much. Such men are dangerous. Fear him not, Caesar. He's not dangerous. He is a noble Roman, and well-given. Would he were fatter, but I fear him not. Yet if my name were liable to fear, I do not know the man I should avoid. So soon as that spare Cassius, he reads much. He is a great observer, and he looks quite through the deeds of men. He loves no plays, as thou dost, Antony. He hears no music. Seldom he smiles, and smiles in such a sort as if he mocked himself and scorned his spirit, that could be moved to smile at anything. Such men as he be never at heart's ease, while they behold a greater than themselves, and therefore are they dangerous. I rather tell thee what is to be feared than what I fear, for always I am Caesar. Come on my right hand, for this ear is deaf, I should say. And tell me truly what thou thinkest of him. Senate. Caesar and his train exits, but Casca remains behind. You pulled me by the cloak. Would you speak with me? Aye, Casca. Tell us what hath chanced today, that Caesar looks so sad. Why, you were with him, were you not? I should not then ask Casca what had chanced. Why, there was a crown offered him, and being offered him, he put it high with the back of his hand, thus, and then the people fell a shouting. What was the second noise for? Why, for that too. They shouted thrice. What was the last cry for? Why, for that too. Was the crown offered him thrice? Aye, Mary, was it. And he put it by thrice, every time gentler than other, and at every putting by, mine honest neighbor shouted. Who offered him the crown? Why, Antony. Tell us the manner of it, gentle Casca. I can as well be hanged as tell the manner of it. It was mere foolery. I did not mark it. I saw Mark Antony offer him a crown, yet 'twas not a crown neither. 'Twas one of these coronets. And, as I told you, he put it by once, but, for all that, to my thinking, he would fain have had it. Then he offered it to him again, then he put it by again, but to my thinking, he was very loath to lay his fingers off it. And then he offered it the third time. He put it the third time by, and still as he refused it, the rabblement hooted and clapped their chopped hands, and threw up their sweaty nightcaps, and uttered such a deal of stinking breath, because Caesar refused the crown that it had almost choked Caesar, for he swooned and fell down at it. And for mine own part, I durst not laugh for fear of opening my lips and receiving the bad air. But soft, I pray you. What, did Caesar swoon? He fell down in the marketplace, and foamed at mouth, and was speechless. 'Tis very like he hath the falling sickness. No, Caesar hath it not. But you and I, and honest Casca, we have the falling sickness. I know not what you mean by that, but I am sure Caesar fell down. If the Tagrag people did not clap him and hiss him, according as he pleased and displeased them, as they used to do the players in the theater, I am no true man. What said he when he came up to himself? Mary, before he fell down, when he perceived the common herd was glad he refused the crown, he plucked me ope his doublet, and offered them his throat to cut. And I had been a man of any occupation, and if I would not have taken him at a word, I might go to hell among the rogues. And so he fell. When he came to himself again, he said if he had done or said anything amiss, he desired their worships to think it was his infirmity. 3 or 4 wenches where I stood cried, Alas, good soul, and forgave him with all their hearts. but there's no heed to be taken of them. If Caesar had stabbed their mothers, they would have done no less. And after that, he came thus sad away. Aye. Did Cicero say anything? Excuse me. Aye, he spoke Greek. To what effect? Nay, and I tell you that I'll ne'er look you in the face again. But those that understood him smiled at one another, and shook their heads. But for mine own part, it was Greek to me. I could tell you more news too. Marulus and Flavius, for pulling scarves off Caesar's images, are put to silence. Fare you well. There was more foolery yet, if I can remember it. Will you sup with me tonight, Casca? No, I am promised forth. Will you dine with me tomorrow? Aye, if I be alive, and your mind hold, and your dinner worth the eating. Good, I will expect you. Do so. Farewell both, and he exits. What a blunt fellow is this grown to be. He was a quick metal when he went to school. So is he now in execution of any bold or noble enterprise. However he puts on this tardy form, this rudeness is a sauce to his good wit, which gives men's stomach to digest his words with better appetite. And so it is. For this time I will leave you. Tomorrow, if you please to speak with me, I will come home to you. Or, if you will, come home to me, and I will wait for you. I will do so. Till then, think of the world. And Brutus exits. Well, Brutus, thou art noble, yet I see thy honorable metal may be wrought from that is disposed. Therefore it is meet that noble minds keep ever with their likes. For who so firm that cannot be seduced? Caesar doth bear me hard, but he loves Brutus. If I were Brutus now, and he were Cassius, he should not humor me. I will this night, in several hands and at his windows throw, as if they came from several citizens, writings, all tending to the great opinion that Rome holds of his name, wherein obscurely Caesar's ambition shall be glanced at, and after this let Caesar seat him sure, for we will shake him, or worse days endure, and he exits. So the synopsis for scene 2 here. Man, I definitely cannot speak today. One of the perks, I guess, of recording so late, but the synopsis here is that a soothsayer advises Caesar that the 15th of March will be a dangerous day for him, and when Caesar and others exit, Cassius and Brutus remain behind, and Cassius urges Brutus to oppose Caesar for fear that Caesar may become king. And after Brutus and Cassius talk with Casca about Mark Antony's public offer of the crown to Caesar, Brutus agrees to continue his conversation with Cassius the next day. Cassius, alone at the end of the scene, expresses his surprise that Brutus, who is one of Caesar's favorites, is willing to conspire against Caesar and decides to take immediate advantage of this willingness. So, quite a few things happening here in this scene. For starters, there's when a soothsayer tells you beware the eyes of March, you might want to listen to him. And Caesar's arrogance, and to kind of spoil it, will prove to be his downfall, but we're not quite there yet. But of course, Cassius kind of talking with Brutus and kind of manipulating him a little bit. I know here it says that Brutus does have his reservations about Caesar becoming king and everything, and gaining a whole lot of power, or all this power is gaining. But Cassius kind of stokes the flames of that, as you can see. It's kind of like, yeah, Brutus, he is getting quite a bit of power, and Brutus is like, he is getting quite a bit of power, and Cassius kind of playing off of like Brutus's kind of fears in that way. Saying like, hey, why is Caesar so important? You're pretty cool too, and I'm kind of paraphrasing for the most part, but like Cassius essentially is like, you're pretty cool too, Brutus. Like you're pretty important. You're a cool guy. Why can't your name be as important as his name? Like why does he get all the glory, all the credit, and all that? And especially this scene, talking about Casca, kind of talking about how Caesar's like public display, pretty much everybody conspiring against Caesar, saying Caesar, was gaining too much power. He needs to essentially be put in his place. But something also worth mentioning, if I can scroll down to it, is quite a scroll. so yeah, everybody talking negatively kind of about Caesar and talking about his him gaining so much power and stuff like that, and how it was and how it's kind of a bad thing. But that's this part, I believe. He, his part's here. Or where is it? I just saw it. Uh, yeah, I think it's this part. Alright, swooned and fell down at it for mine own part. Alright, there's that. Uh, uh, where is it? I think I saw it. I know. Uh, I know exactly what. I think. I think it's. Shoot. Let me see. So. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, so it was a bit earlier. So this part, him falling down, and foaming at the mouth, health and everything, while accepting the crown. Now, it's kind of played off as, oh, look at, or Casca kind of being like, oh, look at how arrogant Julius Caesar is. But it's believed that Julius Caesar suffered from seizures. And no, I'm not personally saying that just to make it rhyme, Caesar seizure, but it's believed that Julius Caesar suffered from seizures every now and then, and I believe may have also suffered from epilepsy, if I'm not mistaken, and I know they kind of go back and forth, especially with this play and everything, and how Caesar's depicted here versus like real life and everything, and versus like the real life counterpart of Julius Caesar, aka the actual Julius Caesar. So, them depicting that there is worth mentioning. So, and Shakespeare did study Roman history and everything, and I believe Greek and Roman history in school. So, I think it's definitely one of the inspirations by this play being a thing in the first place, but especially that part, Caesar full on having a seizure in front of this crowd of people, which I've never had a seizure before, and here's to hoping that I never do. But they can be pretty scary. Yeah. So but for Casca to kind of write it off, kind of stoking those flames, I think you can probably see where this is going. But nevertheless, as will things unfold further, let's find out as we move into scene 3 and wrap up Act 1 here with scene 3. So thunder and lightning enter Casca and Cicero. Oh, and really quickly, before I forget, it's I guess Thor's making a cameo in this play with the thunder and lightning here. Hey, it would give some credence to Iron Man calling Thor Shakespeare in the Park in the first Avengers movie, but nevertheless, as dumb MCU joke / reference aside, I Thunder and Lightning enter Casca and Cicero. Good evening, Casca. Brought you Caesar's home? Why are you breathless, and why stare you so? Are not you moved when all the sway of earth shakes like a thing unfirm? Oh, Cicero, I have seen tempests and the scolding winds, have rived the knotty oaks, and I have seen the ambitious ocean swell and rage and foam to be exalted with the threatening clouds, but never till tonight, never till now, did I go through a tempest-dropping fire. Either there is a civil strife in heaven, or else the world, too saucy with their gods, incenses them to send destruction. Why, saw you anything more wonderful? A common slave, you know him well by sight, held up his left hand, which did flame and burn, like 20 torches joined, and yet his hand, not sensible of fire, remained unscorched. Besides, I had not since put up my sword. Against the capital I met a lion, who glazed upon me and went surly by, without annoying me, and there were drawn, upon a heap 100 ghastly women, transformed with their fear, who swore they saw men all in fire walk up and down the streets. And yesterday the bird of night did sit, even at noonday upon the marketplace, hooting and shrieking. When these prodigies do some conjointly meet, let not men say, these are their reasons, they are natural, for I believe they are portentous things unto the climate that they point upon. Indeed, it is a strange disposed time, but men may construe things after their fashion, clean from the purpose of the things themselves. Comes Caesar to the Capitol tomorrow? He doth, for he did bid Antonius send word to you he would be there tomorrow. Oh, good night then, Casca. This disturbed sky is not to walk in. Farewell, Cicero. And Cicero exits, and then enters Cassius. Who's there? A Roman. Casca, by your voice. Your ear is good, Cassius. What night is this? A very pleasing night to honest men. Whoever knew the heavens menace so? Those that have known the earth so full of faults. For my part, I have walked about the streets, submitting me unto the perilous night, and thus unbraced, Casca, as you see, have bared my bosom to the thunderstone. And when the cross-blue lightning seemed to open the breast of heaven, I did present myself, even in the aim and very flash of it. But wherefore did you so much tempt the heavens? Is it the part of men to fear and tremble, and the most mighty gods by token send such dreadful heralds to astonish us? You are dull, Casca, and those sparks of life that should be in a Roman you do who want, or else you use not. You look pale, and gaze, and put on fear, and cast yourself in wonder, to see the strange impatience of the heavens. But if you would consider the true cause, why all these fires, why these gliding ghosts, why birds and beasts from quality and kind, why old men, fools, and children calculate, why all these things change from their ordinance, their natures, and preformed faculties, to monstrous quality, why, you shall find, the heavens hath infused them with these spirits, to make them instruments of fear and warning, unto some monstrous states. Now could I, Casca, name to thee a man, most like this dreadful night, that thunders, lightens, opens graves, and roars, as doth the lion in the Capitol, a man no mightier than thyself or me, in personal action, yet prodigious ground, and fearful, as these strange eruptions are. 'Tis Caesar that you mean, is it not, Cassius? Let it be who it is, for Romans now have throes and limbs like to their ancestors. But woe the while, our fathers' minds are dead, and we are governed with our mother's spirits. Our yoke and sufferance show us womanish. Indeed, they say the senators tomorrow mean to establish Caesar as a king, and he shall wear his crown by sea and land, in every place save here in Italy. I know where I will wear this dagger then. Cassius from bondage will deliver Cassius. Therein, you gods, you make the weak most strong. Therein, you gods, you tyrants do defeat. Nor stony tower, nor walls of beaten brass, nor airless dungeon, nor strong links of iron can be retentive to the strength of spirits. But life, being weary of these worldly bars, never lacks power to dismiss itself. Oh, if I know this, know all the world besides, that part of tyranny that I do bear, I can shake off at a pleasure. And Thundersteel Hill. So can I. So every bondman in his own hand bears the power to cancel his captivity. And why should Caesar be a tyrant then? Poor man, I know he would not be a wolf, but that he sees the Roman are but sheep. He were no lion, were not Romans hinds. Those that with haste will make a mighty fire, begin it with weak straws. What trash is Rome? What rubbish? And what awful what? And it serves, or that might be a fall. What a fall when it serves for the base matter to illuminate so vile a thing as Caesar. But, O grief, where hast thou led me? I perhaps speak to this before a willing bondman. Then, I know, my answer must be made, but I am armed, and dangers are to me indifferent. You speak to Casca, and to such a man that is no fleering telltale. Hold my hand, and they shake hands. Be factious for redress of all these griefs, and I will set his foot of mine as far as who goes farthest. There's a bargain made. Now know you, Casca, I have moved already some certain of the noblest minds Romans to undergo with me an enterprise of honorable, dangerous consequence, and I do know by this they stay for me in Pompey's porch, For now, this fearful night, there is no stir or walking in the streets, and the complexion of the element in favor is like the work we have in hand, most bloody, fiery, and most terrible. Enter Cinna. Stand close a while, for here comes one in haste. 'Tis Cinna. I do know him by his gait. He is a friend. Cinna, where haste you so? To find out you. Who's that? Medalist Cimber? No, it is Casca, one incorporate. To our attempts, one incorporate, I should say. To our attempts. Am I not stayed for, Cinna? I am glad on it. What a fearful night this is. There's 2 or 3 of us have seen strange sights. Am I not stayed for? Tell me. Yes, you are. Oh, Cassius, if you could but win the noble Brutus to our party. Cassius hands him the papers, and he says, Be you content, good Cinna. Take this paper, and look you lay it in the praetor's chair, where Brutus may but find it, and throw this in at his window. Set this up with wax upon old Brutus's statue. All this done, repair to Pompey's porch, where you shall find us. Is Decius Brutus and Trebonius there? All but Metellus Cimber, and he's gone, to seek you at your house. Well, I will hie, and so bestow these papers as you bade me. That done, repair to Pompey's theater, and Cinna exits. Come, Casca, you I will yet ere day see Brutus at his house. Else 3 parts of him is ours already, and the man entire upon the next encounter yields him ours. Oh, he sits high in all the people's hearts, and that which would appear offense in us, his countenance, like richest alchemy, will change to virtue and to worthiness. Him and his worth and our great need of him, you have right well conceded. Let us go, for it is after midnight, and ere day we will wake him and be sure of him. And they exit. So, the synopsis here is that Casca, meeting Cicero, describes the marvels visible in the street that night, and suggests that the marvels foretell important events to come. Cicero having left, Cassius arrives to persuade Casca to join the conspiracy to liberate Rome from the threat of Caesar's kingship. When Cinna joins them, Cassius sends him to leave letters where Brutus may find them and be persuaded that his opposition to Caesar is desired by many. Okay, so crazy nights apparently. Either that or Rome is getting a little green, if you know what I mean. But them taking this as signs that hey, we gotta take this dude out. So essentially Cassius is gonna, as Cassius and Cicero, or Cassius and Cinna, I should say. Cassius and Cicero. Cassius and Casca. Oh my goodness, it is pretty late. So Cassius and Casca are now going to convince Brutus to be on their side fully. To say 3/4 of him is there. Now we just gotta get that last little bit. We just gotta get him to trust us just a little bit more, and we're gonna take out Caesar. Man. And sometimes your haters work overtime. You know. Cassius pretty much on his Drew McIntyre hater-ish. I'm sure Drew McIntyre somewhere reading this, taking notes, which is probably why he went so hard against CM Punk. But nevertheless, as how things unfold, and will these men, including will these men convince Brutus to turn on his friend Julius Caesar? Find out all that and more next time as we continue our reading of Julius Caesar next week. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload videos. You can see it as soon as it drops. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this week's episode and Act 1 of Julius Caesar. Did you like the reading? Did you like my analysis of what we have read? And are you excited to see the rest of Julius Caesar here? But nevertheless, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.